My name is Robert Scevers. I built the USS Des Moines in 1/16th scale. It's a CA-134. It had a couple of sister ships, so it had one sister ship that was built at USS Salem, and the USS Dallas was planned to be built. It was never actually finished. The project was only about 20% complete until they canceled the project after World War II. The ship was used from 1945 to 67, whereas then after that put into the reserve fleet, and it was actually then scrapped in Brownsville, Texas in 2007. So that was interesting. It has, on 3 turrets, it has 9 8-inch guns, which could fire 60 rounds a minute, and it required about 30 crew per turret. Sources do vary on that, so it depends. It was one of the first auto-loading cannons, one of the first heavy cruisers to have an auto-loading system where the Russians would use that in their tanks later on, and during the 20s, during the Cold War. Not in the 20s, 20 years later in the Cold War. But it was a very good system. It required less men. It could fire 60 rounds a minute. It also had 4 seaplanes in it, 2 of which are on display right now. And what the thing is, the hangar, the gray piece would actually go backwards, and there would be a hangar down and inside of it where they could store them, and they would be used for targeting. And the maximum range was about 20 miles. Again, sources vary on that. And it was what they would do is they would fly it, because the range was 20 miles. They would fly the planes using a kind of a projectile system for the aircraft, and they would have it scout over the horizon. It would be able to shoot over the horizon, and so they would need the seaplanes to be able to target and scout ahead where they were actually being able to hit. And like I said, they would land in the water near the end of the boat, and then the crane would pick it up and then put them back on for refueling or rearmament or whatever they needed. It also had 6 dual auxiliary cannons that could be used either for, they were dual purpose. They could be either used for anti-aircraft or ship-to-ship combat. I also have a small little blue micro figure on there, roughly for scale. I chose blue because it stands out the most that I could find. It also has a bunch of Bofors guns, a bunch of radar dishes in it. It actually had one of the best targeting computers during the World War II, where they used, I think they used the same type of system they used on the Missouri, which when they refit it in '91, they kept the system. They kept the same computer on it. And so I was able to actually, for this model, I was able to build, with using small power functions, I was actually able to build a small little worm gear box with it, because if I didn't use that, Lego builds this turning table, but if I didn't use it long enough, if I didn't use the proper one, it would swing across, so I had to build a worm gear system to go with it. But I'm really happy about the way it turned out, and people really seem to enjoy it here at the show. It can go maybe 190 degrees, maybe-ish.
Yeah.
I haven't measured it, so.
That movement is a nice kind of extra element of the build that makes it stand out. So what's the inside of this build like? As the build came together, how did the structure come together?
I built it kind of like a roof. You have to have something underneath. You can't really do a hollow. I've seen people do it where they have like Duplo bricks underneath, which I was thinking about doing, but I couldn't find any in time. What I did, I built it like a roof where you have 2x4 bricks going across the deck, going underneath across, so you have row after row after row, and somewhat intervals, so it's somewhat easy to build. So that way I don't go crashing through the deck. I actually had the front part of it, actually the ship where the turrets are, the moving turrets are, is actually really delicate. I've had my cat step through the deck, step his paw through the deck. He was fine, if you're wondering, but it broke part of the ship. It was like a few days before the show, so that wasn't fun.
Yeah, well,
But I was actually I wouldn't say sponsored, but the people at the USS Des Moines website that actually served on the ship, they gave me some advice, they gave me some tips, and they were really nice about it. They gave me a hat and all that. And they were very sweet, and I just took it out.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm so glad you were able to bring it to the show all in one piece here. So thanks so much for chatting with us about the build. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.